Well, thank you for the introduction, Owen. It's my pleasure to be here. I was saying when Owen remarked about my rough and tumble time at City Hall, municipal politics in Hamilton, it, of course, bears no resemblance to the kind of rough and tumble things that are happening right now in Toronto city politics. So I'm glad I didn't come out of that scenario. Anyways, I'm really pleased to be here, surrounded by esteemed business leaders and some political colleagues. And I want to thank the Ontario Chamber for bringing people together once again to discuss how we tackle our challenges as a province and how we can move beyond just talking about problems to making actual changes that will bring growth and create jobs. People looking for work and worried about the future, business owners wondering whether they're going to be able to keep operating, need us to move beyond conversation. We all know that Ontario is facing challenges, but I know that those challenges, and I think you know that those challenges, are not insurmountable. In fact, people see that New Democrats are offering solutions and focusing on results. We need to be ready to look fearlessly at what works and what doesn't work, not based on ideology, but based on real-world successes. For us, as we deal with Ontario's challenges, that means understanding that business will create jobs, but that government has a responsibility to work with them to make that happen. Understanding that the same old ideas won't allow us to seize opportunities, but first and foremost, understanding that people have to be at the center, at the heart of our plans. You know, when the people of Ontario have good jobs that help them raise families and pay the bills, if they are economically secure, Ontario will be on solid footing. I know we can foster growth in our manufacturing sector, encourage innovation, realize the potential of our natural resources, and put families on that secure footing that they need to succeed. There's no doubt it will be a challenge. But we don't have to look farther than the communities just outside our door right here. The Niagara region is one of the most beautiful places in the world, but a lot of people living here are faced with some pretty tough times. We all know global issues have created pressure on the manufacturing sector throughout Europe and North America, and Ontario, of course, has added pressures, like the highest electricity costs in the country. Over the last 8 years in Ontario, 30% of manufacturing jobs have disappeared, and we can see that in real terms across the Niagara Peninsula, that is obvious. In January, 100 employees at Veritas Communications in Stevensville were called into a meeting and told that the printing plant was closing effective immediately. This fall, staff at Redpath Sugar were told the blending and packaging plant that's been operating since 1996 will be closing as of May. After over 100 years of operation, Energex Tube permanently cut 94 Welland area jobs and announced plans to shut down 2 of its company's mills. And of course, these challenges aren't limited to any one sector of the economy. A government push to build new private casinos has put hundreds of jobs at the Fort Erie racetrack in jeopardy. Despite government promises of new energy sector jobs, DMI Industries announced last year it was permanently closing its Fort Erie plant. These job losses have a real impact on our overall prospects for growth. Manufacturing jobs are exactly the kind of jobs that fuel our economy. Jobs with pensions and benefits and wages that pay on average $25 an hour or more. You know, people are left wondering just how they're going to be able to catch up. And I've seen that anxiety myself personally in the face of parents and their children at the Fort Erie racetrack not too long ago. You can hear it in the words of an employee who commented, "I've never been laid off before," after he lost his job of 35 years at Veritas. Ontario's unemployment rate has been above the national average for 5 years, and people with jobs are finding that their paychecks are not keeping pace with inflation. And that's a pretty scary thing, because inflation has not been that high. People feel like they're being squeezed right out of the middle class. Now, I don't think that this is a reason to despair, but it is a good reason to start thinking critically about what we can do differently. You know, when my dad came to this country decades ago with nothing but lint in his pockets, he was able to walk into a plant and start working at a job that he would virtually hold for the rest of his life. Things have changed, and we need to confront that change intelligently. I'm proud to say that New Democrats have shown an ability to do exactly that. NDP governments across Canada have a proven track record when it comes to economic policy, and my friend Tom Mulcair is setting a very similar example in Canada. There is no contradiction between effective economic development and effective social investment. NDP governments have successfully encouraged high rates of economic growth, developed cutting-edge environmental policies, built strong healthcare systems, created good jobs and a strong social safety net while maintaining competitive tax rates. And the Government of Canada's own records, and I know I've shared this with this group before, the Government of Canada's own records show that new Democrat governments have a better track record of balancing the books than any other party. In Ontario, our minority government that we've been given by the people of this province 2 years ago, in this context, New Democrats have worked very hard to follow on those successes, and we're proud of what we've been able to achieve. We pushed for new regional economic development funds and introduced measures to ensure that those funds were transparent and truly accountable and responsive to the communities that they were designed to support. We made tackling youth unemployment a priority with proposals that were included in last spring's budget that will make it easier for businesses to hire and train new young workers. We took real steps to bring us closer to balancing the budget with fairer tax measures and measures to tackle government waste responsibly. We made government more transparent with the creation of the Independent Office of the Financial Accountability. Because Ontarians expect their hard-earned tax dollars to go to vital services instead of paying for the kind of spending scandals that happened at Orange, that happened at the Mississauga and Oakville gas plants, and sadly, there are many other examples. Now, I have never hidden the fact that my goal is to sit in the Premier's chair. But I think the New Democrats in Ontario have proven that we can get things done from any seat in the House. And wherever we sit, our plan is to work hard to get things done for the people who elected us, to spur job creation and growth, the job creation and growth that Ontario needs. Manufacturing today is facing challenges, but it is also fostering innovation, utilizing advanced technologies, and investing in the people who make it work every day. You know, some of the other parties in Ontario's legislature think that the key to success is driving down wages in an attempt to become the next Alabama. I know that a race to the bottom is not the path to prosperity for the province of Ontario. The provinces that are outperforming us, in fact, didn't do it by driving down wages, closing hospitals, slashing strategic support for businesses that rely on that support to succeed. They did it by working with job creators and incentivizing job creation. They did it by ensuring that investment that led to value-added production was actually happening in their provinces. And they did it by ensuring that other real costs were under control, like reliable healthcare systems for employees and affordable electricity rates. Again, we need to look at what's really working and what isn't in the real world. Mark Carney, the now Governor of the Bank of England, has argued, of course, that it's time to wake up dead money sitting in corporate coffers. He suggested that there is an advantage to targeted tax measures and aimed at creating productivity at home. And this is a message, in fact, that New Democrats have been putting forward for several years now. During the debate on the budget, we proposed a job creator tax credit to ensure that tax incentives went to companies that were actually creating new jobs. In fact, the Obama administration south of the border has proposed very similar measures to kickstart recovery and put a real focus on jobs. The idea is a pretty simple one. If the government is going to forego revenue or partner directly with companies, then these companies need to be accountable for that investment in terms of job creation. During the last campaign, we proposed a tax credit to promote productivity investment. That tax credit is something that was based on a credit that's already working in Manitoba. Over the last 6 years, Manitoba has seen the largest increase in labor productivity in Canada, more than double the national increase and Ontario's. That's a real-world success. We could say the same about Manitoba's electricity rates, in fact. Manitoba to our west and Quebec to our east are providing reliable electricity to their businesses and citizens at literally half the price that we're being charged in Ontario. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence that to our east and to our west, public, accountable electricity corporations with a mandate to provide affordable power are thriving. And I do know that people here in Ontario are tired of watching their government mismanage private electricity contracts, adding billions of dollars to the bills. I've made it pretty clear that we need change in our electricity system and have some proposals that are really some basic, simple first steps. Taking the politics out of future gas plants, for example, by ensuring that they're built by our own public generating company, and updating the tools that we use to trade electricity outside of our borders so that we can ensure that what we're paying for is the price of power, not profits from speculation. Again, these are simple steps that are based on what's already working in other jurisdictions, looking at what's working in the real world, not ideology. We need not only to succeed, but to ensure that everyone succeeds. You know, too often we forget that people are the economy. Economists tell us that household debt and economic insecurity are a drag on our economy. People who worry about making ends meet don't buy new homes. People who think there won't be better jobs for them in the future don't bother to increase their skills, upgrade their education. If our economy is going to work, families need to be looking to the future with some confidence. And that's why our strategies for job creation are focused not on driving down wages, as some other parties are, but on spurring investment that leads to high-paying, value-added jobs. That's why we focus on issues that confront the affordability of everyday life, because the kitchen table discussion about how to pay the bill for auto insurance or electricity reverberates throughout our economy. And because the most important thing is delivering change that actually works for people. That's why we focus on results. Over the last month, we've heard the government talk, sometimes quite a lot, about many of the same issues that I brought here today. But I think that people will be looking critically at these comments and asking whether they will lead to an actual change in approach. Or are these just promises of a government that seems unsure of what it's doing after 10 years in office? I'll be listening closely this afternoon for the answers on that very question. There's no doubt that these are challenging times, but within these challenges are opportunities to build a better province, to confront and correct the mistakes of the past, to reject old ideas that just are not working. You know, it won't be easy, but nothing worth doing ever is. We can reject reckless, short-term thinking and temporary fixes and build carefully for a sustainable future. We can build our province's wealth and focus on the challenges facing people while building a better world for our kids. We can put a stop to the drift towards economic polarization and stop pushing families out of the middle class and start building a healthier, fairer society. We won't get there with the same old ideas and status quo solutions, but by building prosperity, prosperity that every Ontario person can share in, we can succeed in ways that we have never done before. I want to thank you so much for your time and attention. Look forward to the economic statement this afternoon and look forward to your remarks and thoughts as we go through the next days. Thanks so much.